Okay, let's give this a fair finish. Because right after spending, how much time was it? 6.5 hours, just about 6 hours and 40 minutes. With pretty well behaving internet, clearing through the final trio of chapters for New Game Plus for Fuga 2. Right as we got to credits, internet becomes a bunch of a bitch and basically splits the VOD to 6.5 hours on one side and a mere 6 on the other. And boy, is that frustrating as heck. Because the entire point of pushing through and doing New Game Plus on stream, and even hoping for good internet today to do the finale for New Game Plus on stream, is to finish it. To get the gears, finish all the achievements, and then see the final bits of things that completing a New Game Plus and getting all the gears has to offer. So what a frustrating mess it is when it basically falls apart, internet-wise, right at the very end. Like, literally right at the very end. You kidding? Fuming. Swearing. Bouncing hardware down the hall. And we can't end it like that. After giving 70 plus hours to trying to get through here and seeing the secret movie. As one could see on the left there, mostly covered up. Well, not mostly, you could see most of it. Is that despite having 2 gears left to go, we have gotten them all. Every single last one glowing up and down the side. And I still see a little bit of pulse of blurriness. As it keeps on doing that, it stays stable and then it drops. And then we drop some more frames. And then it goes back up to 5. And just as it gets stable, it drops again. And a few frames down, then back up. And then down. And then down. And then down. You see what we have to deal with here. I take a shower, I calm down, the net's stable, I come back, give this an honest go, and then there it goes fucking up again. 1/3. Solid 1/3 of all frames. We good? Do I gotta go to Comcast and change their CEO's diaper? Feed him a bottle, burp him a bit? We stable? Okay. So let's do this proper like. It's frustrating that after a 6.5 hour stream, the end result afterwards is like 6, 10, 15 minutes, whatever. But that's life under Comcast. That's life with American infrastructure. So let's go through it then. Easy, breezy New Game Plus. Fuga 2 didn't feel as difficult as Fuga 1 was, but that could partially be attributed to knowing the system better and having a basic understanding of what tricks I could use to get through certain situations. There's some good combinations of characters I could put around. Stun ammo was really OP. And even for the very dangerous routes, they didn't feel very dangerous. I feel like there were some difficult there were more enemy combinations of high difficulty in Fuga 1 and 2. And as far as the gears go, we know that one of the conditions we had not satisfied yet, and now that we finished New Game Plus, was getting all the journal entries. And comparing down the list that we looked at before, I have no idea what the other condition would have been then. Because we've done them all prior. So who knows? The important thing is it's done. and we got Secret Movie. And it would have been really cool to follow up the ending with going through the credits, seeing the stinger, and then game opens up to the title screen. There's a little and you see the Secret Movie. But take that up with Comcast ruining the mood. For now, we have 2 final journal entries that I went ahead and looked at. Records of an Engineer, 6. We've received word that the most terrible of all Titano Machina, the Vernauergen, now has us at its sights. This will surely be Jill's last deployment, but be that as it may, I will not allow the boy to suffer the soul cannon again. I should be the one to suffer for all this, for all the pain I have imposed on these children. So here in the very end, also during the 6-minute, fuck, bitch, little conclusion, didn't get around to the journals. Just saw the movie, bitched out. I should be the one to suffer for all of this, for all the pain I've imposed on these children. So here in the very end, I will bear this burden. If we lose here today, it can only mean that God has seen fit to punish us for our sins. Jean may suffer from what I'm about to do, but if such is so, at least Jean, Gilles, and myself will all leave this world together. Perhaps it's even better this way. And so goes Mama, who joined up with Crusade, thinking, yeah, this is a great mission, realized what was going on with the kids, switched focus to them, cared for them, tended to them, didn't want them to suffer, and let herself be the final sacrifice, while Jill slept to take out the Vernauergen. Then a man's quiet musings. I guess humanity had finally found equality, just in total annihilation at the hands of Juno. I really risked hedging my bets on how far the damage would spread. But it looks like I made the right choice, huh? All my prep out here in this dark, frozen wasteland finally paid off. Now, I get to take back everything that was stolen from me. Very mysterious. The background is kind of this Juno-shaped mainframe thing that we saw whenever we go back to Hannah and Jill in the digital mainframe bit. Malt. Every time we get a death, then we go backwards. Which leads me to believe that this is Maestro, who may or may not be, and quite possibly is Count Nube Lune. Which makes me wonder if this is written in the past, around the time of humanity's annihilation, or the present. Which, speaking of which, God see fit to punish us for our sins. Seemingly did, given that humanity has been mostly wiped out, except for a few stragglers here or there somehow. As the world has been replaced by the furry future. And this Juno really does appear to be the actual overarching big bad, or Little Tail Bronx thing. Because from what I could tell from the journals, and the post-game journals, in this game or the previous, is that humanity in the Little Tail Bronx universe was mostly going along the same path as we have today. Some good folk, some bad folk, lots of folks living their own lives, and a bunch of selfish people in power. Until Juno comes in and gives great power to a privileged few nations, creates more inequality, and phenomenal cosmic power in the hands of the few. And then people start being like, well, this is messed up. We're gonna make our own Juno, or we're gonna do a crusade thing and try to undo Juno. And then you get an escalation of Titano, Machina, whatever. And giant, phenomenal beasts roaming the land, destroying everything, being destroyed in turn. So it kinda sounds like the Juno was a messed up thing in the first place. Maybe there's some statement on the nature of humanity, that oh, humanity was selfish and divided. We give out these powerful sources of knowledge and power to a privileged few, and wouldn't you know it, it turns out there's envy, there's abuse of power. Well, gee, what did you think would happen putting a nuke in the hands of a toddler? So with these two notes out of the way, events, we got the resolution epilogue, fierce determination to see Malt through the battle, put him at odds with his crew. They were heckin' frightened of the guy. Strained relations eased once again. Yeah, alright. I think it should have been Malt apologizing to everybody else, not everybody else going, Malto, we're so sorry that you scared us. Empathy, Malt and his companions worked hand in hand, supporting one another in their fight to restore peace to Gasco. Objectively, the better ending. Empathy ending. The Gasco military offers Malt to join them. He's like, nah, that's not my style. His friends are all like, yeah, we did it so well together. Malt, you're a great leader. And even Vanilla has to be like, well, you know what? They're right. Whereas in Resolution, he gets the respect of the literal Burman Nazi generals who are like, oh, you're a proper Burman leader now. You scared all of your friends. Don't you feel great? And Vanilla's like, oh man, you were so cold and calculating. I loved it. So empathy, full-on empathy, with a little bit of resolution. Just enough of like 45 or so to see the combined empathy resolution events to really sharpen his leadership is good. Empathy, good. Empathy and resolution tempering each other, excellent. And full-on resolution, there's a reason Malt has fire behind him, because he burned all of his bridges. Teamwork and obsession. And so that leaves us with the secret movie. That was the point of the additional Fuga streams, to go through New Game Plus. A little bit to see how well the extra dangerous routes were that were only available to New Game Plus. Fun. Decent trickiness sometimes. But ultimately not all that difficult. The worst that they got me were a few mid or late game configurations a little bit earlier in. I was honestly expecting them to be harder. If they're gonna hype them up as being way too dangerous, don't you dare go this way. Then throw me something interesting. Throw me more Verzelworms. Throw me Verzelworms with depression things to really trip me up if I'm not careful. But we have the third game. I don't have the third game because I didn't pick it up in the most latest Steam sale. But someday I will, and there is gonna be the third game. So who knows? Maybe they'll up the difficulty. Maybe, being the third in the series, it'll have an expectation that these are players who are quite familiar with the Fuga formula by now. And so they could really afford to go all out, especially given it's going to be, well, I'm not gonna say it's going to be, it was last year it came out, that it is the final game of the series, for the trilogy, so it's gotta be some exciting capstone. And now the secret movie. The secret movie which for whatever reason, they put at 0.05 volume. Top secret. Malt, his brother, a new tank. A new tank. I don't think he brought the Tyrannus up from the surface of the earth. So this is maybe some other tank? And this looks like the Burman Kaiser. That's the Burman Kerberos insignia on these airships. I don't think this is flashback. I think that we're looking at the piece they've alluded to at the end of the game, falling apart so quickly. Wappa's looking a bit sinister too. Human transmutation circle. And we got a little bit of talk of heroes. That's like reincarnation. And that looked like Colonel Flam. Count Nuve Lune and or Maestro taking a more active effort. I do wish the volume was a lot higher than it is. And that looks like surface of the moon. So that is Lunar looking up at the blue star. So a lot of enigmatic stuff. It's certainly hinting a whole lot more direct drama. The brother returned home, a new tank. Looking like there might be conflict with Bermans once more. A lot of characters looking sinister. A lot of seeming hints at heroes of old, either meshing with heroes of new. Or incarnations? I don't know. But either way, 17 minutes this time. We gave 11 additional minutes to it. 17 minutes, which should have been the capstone to the part 1 of this VOD. But when you're under the fiefdom of Comcast, what are you gonna do? So at some point we'll get around to Fuga 3. It's gonna be a while yet though. We did just do 2 Fuga games, and then Fuga 2, the base game with a new game plus back to back. So I gotta put a bit of distance again. Just like how after doing Fuga 1, I had to go to Pride, and then play Deathloop, and then play Prey. Play a few mobile games, and eventually work my way back around to here. And very soon, we have what? A week? Until Fields of Mystria 1.0 comes out. Yeah, exactly a week. Today's the 29th. And the 5th is when 1.0 comes out. So I think that we're gonna put streams on pause until then and come back full power on the 5th. For the New Year's Eve celebration, Year 5 Fields of Mystria. Roll the clock over to Year 5. And then for the next stream project, Fields of Mystria 1.0. See everything that the out of early access base game has for us. So now that had a cooldown, had a shower, had the net stabilized, and then gave this thing a proper due to properly go through. Appreciate on all the cogs lit up. Appreciate the final 2 journal entries we got and put a bit of thoughts to the secret movie. I could have bought my brother a birthday gift. So that's what I'm going to do next. Birthday gift, then week off on stream, then 5th again for Fields of Mystria. If I were to try to mesh the secret movie together with the final journal we unlocked, there's definitely a whole background of human politicking from the end of the human era. You had the whole Juno nonsense. Then you have the world destroyed, continents lifted up into the sky, and humans replaced by furries. But there are still humans around. Maestro Nueva Lune somehow exists both in the digital realm and in the actual. My guess is that that final journal entry is probably him. Hedging his bets could mean a number of things if I was more proficient in the background lore of Little Tail Bronx, which is to say, if I played Tail Concerto, if I played Solitarobo, and got them to the end of the part of the games where the cute, furry adventures turn into wait, there's humans, giant mechs, and conspiracies spanning thousands of years, the likes of which would make Kojima weep in envy, then I might have a better guess. But I would say that maybe Maestro is the malevolent power present in the downfall of humanity, preserved in some impossible way. And now that he's manipulated these kids to take out a couple of mega super weapons. Because, I mean, look, the Venargan is dead, not just dormant. Because the Belanos is now dead, now that Jill is gone. Tyrannus pushed off over the edge. Maybe Maestro. Maestro, so named because he's orchestrating this concert himself, would be unopposed. We thinking the last human on planet arranged the previous two games to wipe out the last remnants of humanity's super weapons? To claim the new furry future for himself? Either way, we won't find out until Fuga 3 goes on attractive sale again, which it did during the Steam Summer Sale. Some folks say $20, $30, whatever is too expensive for a game like this. When is it gonna get to $10? Even 20 on discount is phenomenal for how much content and how much density this gives. I mean, look at this thing. It's oozing with style. It's oozing with a pretty fun strategy game. I'd say it's worth. 20 is a steal. So, whenever that next sale is when I'll pick up Fuga 3. And I still see the bit rates dropping periodically. We're down to what? Well, now it's up to 4,000, 5,000, but every time I look away, it drops again to maintain over 1/10 of all frames keep on oozing out. But hey, we gave it 20 minutes this time. "20 minutes to give a proper conclusion to 6.5 hours of effort on a day to capstone that was supposed to capstone out on 2 weeks to this game. 2 weeks! And then a conks at the end. But that's old news. It's old news. And it's tempting. I'm tempted to fill in some of the time between now and Fields of Mystery 1.0 by maybe, I'm not gonna make promises, but maybe, what are we feeling? A couple more Gagax medleys over the weekend? The Gagax medleys are never popular to anyone but me, but I have fun with them. Maybe not. Maybe not. I did promise a season or more before we go back to the island. But for now, that is it. We've conquered the game. Then Comcast decided to be a bitch, took a shower, and now we've brought this to a proper capstone conclusion, and so that is where we're going to properly call it for the night. Oh yeah, and we have this on the later screen. Because it was being a pain yesterday too. I have no idea why Comcast is being such a pain outside of Scorpion and the Frog. LOL, LMAO, it's in our nature. So yeah, that properly is Fuga 2 concluded. So I might see you guys again in other people's chats and other people's channels, goofing around on their streams, goofing around in their chats. But we are going to put a pause until the 5th. And Fields of Mystria has put out lots of updates on the social media in anticipation of 1.0's release. more pressing for us, a diagram on when the release is going to be for every time zone. So lucky for me, release on the 5th does mean release on the 5th. Some folks out over in the West Pacific will have to wait until like the 26th, not the 26th, wait, not a whole month away. The 6th their time in the morning or whatever. For here, 9 a.m. on the 5th, it'll be available to download. So bright and early. So I'm thinking update on 9 a.m. Prep the stream by 9:30. And then 10 a.m. hit the ground hard and running. New Year's Eve, Year 4, roll over to Year 5 and 1.0 content. So for now, I'm gonna get dressed. Gonna grab the car keys, buy a present for my brother's birthday, and I'll see you guys in August. Take care, and hopefully the internet better take care to be more stable by then. See you then.
コブラツイストタワーブリッジキングクマスター4の字固めバックドロップアバッチの竹火いいねエルボードロップエルボースタンプベルリンの赤い雨それでもダメとキャッ火事場のクソ力